Hey everybody, welcome back to another 10-minute Marvel video. I'm Petter, and today we have our first trailer for Daredevil Born Again. And I'm not going to show the trailer here, I'm not going to do a reaction to it. There are going to be other spots you can check that out. Obviously, head to the Marvel YouTube page to check out that trailer, but I do want to talk a little bit about kind of the theme tone of the trailer, because this is going to be a little bit of a, well, actually a fairly notable shift for Marvel in terms of their shows, and actually really in a lot of ways in terms of the movies. Only I would say Daredevil, or not Daredevil, Deadpool and Wolverine has shown the amount of violence that we see in Daredevil Born Again's trailer. And I think it's not necessarily a bad thing either way. It's more a statement of just be aware of that going into this. What stood out to me, and I will say I have not watched the original Netflix series. I'm gonna be finding kind of a summary to go through and to get caught up on, just so that I'm fully aware of everything that went on. But I will say the element that has stood out to me with the stuff that's related to the Netflix has been Vincent D'Onofrio. And this trailer, there isn't much of any difference in that for me. Vincent D'Onofrio as Wilson Fisk is just phenomenal in this role. Just the delivery of his lines and like this cold, calculating mindset is really well done. And I think that's one of the elements that stands out to me. And honestly, that's one of the elements that really interests me in this story as well. As much as Daredevil, it is Wilson Fisk as the mayor. How does that work? What is his ultimate goal? Because his ultimate goal, I mean, there has to be some element of it that is going up against the heroes. And to go up against the heroes, I mean, what could that be? Most likely it will be cracking down on vigilante justice. To be, say, like, we have the police for a reason. We are going to use them to crack down on crime and crack down on vigilantes. Something along those lines. At least that's my prediction. And then, of course, we see a few other characters as well in this trailer. We see White Tiger in the trailer. We see Muse. And Muse is another element of the story that I'm really excited to explore. Because Muse is such a disturbing villain. Muse uses their victims to create artwork. So whether it's like painting in blood or a statue, for lack of a better term, made out of the victims, that's just a weird, disturbing, like really dark sort of crime. And it's the sort of thing that Fisk as mayor is going to have to stamp out, but it's also the sort of thing that Daredevil isn't going to be able to let stand. Then we also see John Barenthal's Punisher in there as well. So that's going to be fun. I really need to just catch up on all the Netflix stuff. It's just there's a lot of it at this point, and I don't have that much time for watching that sort of thing. So I want to dive into and understand the relationship better between Daredevil and Punisher, because while both of them are vigilantes, there definitely is a notable difference in how they handle crime. But overall, the tone of this trailer, I think, is going to be exciting for a lot of people because it is that dark, that violent trailer that matches. And when I say I haven't watched the Netflix stuff, I haven't watched all the Netflix stuff. I've watched some, but it matches a lot of what you see from the Netflix show. It isn't taking it to a Disney Plus place. Obviously, Disney Plus now has Hulu stuff on there as well, so it has that TVMA side of things. And this trailer is clearly and obviously TVMA. Now, I do want to touch on a little bit of, is this, and I talked about it a little bit at the beginning, but is this a good or bad thing? The amount of violence, the TVMA, we've now had an R-rated Marvel film as well, and I don't think that this is a good or a bad thing. There's a lot of content coming out this year from Marvel. We have, starting with your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, ending with Wonder Man. We have 3 movies, 3 animated shows, and 3 live action shows. And having that variety of shows, the variety of movies, and more in particular, the variety of shows, I would say, I think is very useful for Marvel. Because not everything is going to be for everyone. After watching this trailer, I will say my excitement level for Daredevil Born Again hasn't actually changed. This trailer looks really good, but I just don't have that strong a connection to the character. Like I said, I want to work on building that connection so I care more about Daredevil. But right now, I care a whole lot more about Wilson Fisk because we got to see so much of Wilson Fisk in Echo. And so it kind of built off of this kind of trail of characters that I like. So, Hawkeye. Okay, I liked Hawkeye. Hawkeye introduced Echo. I was like, okay, that's a cool character in Echo. Echo, that show really introduced me to the Kingpin. Yes, Hawkeye did, but that was a very cartoony version. It was a fun, worked for the tone of Hawkeye. But Echo gave me that more serious, that darker version of Wilson Fisk. And honestly, my introduction to Daredevil has been a little cameo in Spider-Man No Way Home, and then in She-Hulk. And those are cameos. They're very light in what they do. So I'm excited to kind of have Wilson Fisk be the one who introduces me to Daredevil and to who that character really is. And I expect I'm going to like this show. I expect that there's going to be elements that are really interesting to me. But I will say, just personally, I don't always watch superhero stuff for it to be dark and gritty. That's what I've appreciated about Marvel's movies generally and shows generally over what DC has put out. And some of that is just general quality as well, but just the tonal difference has been something that I've appreciated. This feels more like a dark part of DC's side of things, which isn't a bad thing. It's just not necessarily always what I want in superhero stuff, and which I'm also very aware isn't going to be what Marvel always gives me. So I want to know if this feels like it's going to fit in kind of with how much I loved Echo, and if Daredevil Born Again is going to give me kind of that same enjoyment of something that is darker. But let me know your thoughts on that trailer. Those are just kind of my initial thoughts, reactions to it. I suspect a lot of people are really going to like this trailer. If you are somebody who's watched the Netflix stuff, my guess is there's going to be a lot of it in there for you. So let me know that down in the comment section below. And if you haven't watched the Netflix stuff, and this is maybe going to be your jumping in point to Daredevil, how do you feel about like our third R or TVMA rated MCU project? You can let me know your thoughts on that also down in the comments section below. If you enjoy this content, please give the video a thumbs up, and we'll be talking about this trailer more on our podcast, 10 Minute Marvel. Podcast comes out at the start of every week. You can find the previous episodes, including last week's episode where we did our Marvel Award show for the 2024 movies and TV shows. Plus, we always cover news and rumors there like this, so we're going to be, I'm sure, diving into this a lot. You can find that podcast here on YouTube. Click onto the channel. Subscribe if you haven't already. We appreciate everybody who has subscribed and everybody who is checking out these videos. And then click on the podcast tab, or you can search for 10 Minute Marvel wherever you get your friendly neighborhood podcast from. But with that, we'll see you next time.